Welcome back, Decoders. Today we are tackling a subject that is currently keeping every entrepreneur and marketer up at night: the competition shift in digital strategy caused by the merger of artificial intelligence and SEO. Today we're going to be talking about Google's SGE, content creation, and the thin line between using AI for leverage versus risking brand trust. To help us decode this seismic shift, I'm absolutely thrilled to welcome Daisy Watkins and Darren Fields. Thank you both so much for joining me on Codebreakers today. To get us started, could you tell the decoders a little bit about yourselves and the work you and your business are currently focused on? We can start with you, Daisy. Yeah.
Sure. Hi. Thank you, Fernisha. Thanks so much for having us on the show. I'm Daisy Watkins. I'm the founder of DW Concepts. And what makes my perspective unique is that I'm not just an AI consultant. I spent 20 years as a healthcare staffing executive, including building a $10 million healthcare staffing company. I've lived through the pain of traditional marketing and now helping entrepreneurs and, healthcare businesses basically as one of my niches, leverage AI to transform their marketing without losing the human connection that builds trust.
Yeah. So, hey, everybody. So I'm Darren Fields. I'm with Apex Advisory. I'm the group principal, and we are a commercialization firm. So we do everything from educate and enlighten and enable companies, mostly tech companies. So software, tech services, the whole ecosystem around them. So that's what we do. We're having fun doing that too. So my background is many years as a software executive, mostly doing ERP and transformations. And recently, I've recently started this company, but I was with and have been around AI since 2017. So we've been building all kinds of systems and tools and all kinds of toys. So yeah, it's good stuff.
Yeah, that's super fun. So I know Darren and Daisy both through the American Marketing Association. Both of them have joined and attended events, and I've had some really amazing conversations with the both of you guys about AI and business and marketing and all of the things. So to jump us right on into this, let's start with, what is the biggest misconception about AI and SEO that you want to break for our listeners today?
I'll let you start, Darren.
Well, a lot of folks know that something's going on, right? They know that something is happening. They know that something is happening with SEO. They know something is happening with all of this. I'm not going to be an alarmist or anything and say SEO is dead, but I'm going to say that it's definitely changed. The game has changed. And when we talk about AI and we talk about, all my years with it, I have slowly seen it go along. So, we used to have a product called Coleman at Infor. There was Alexa, all of that. If you go back to those times, there's always been this improved search, evolution that has been going on for quite some time. And really, we're at the end of one phase, and we're moving into the next one, which is now. I think a lot of people wanted to ask Alexa, "Hey, find me the best, pizza parlor around to order for my kid's birthday," and it kind of worked. But now that it's here, some 4, 5, 6, 7 years later, now there actually is something that they can do that on, and they're having a lot of fun with it. So, just from a natural kind of progression over the last 7, 8 years, it's finally arrived to what we all wanted when Alexa first came out. Does that help? I think that hope that sets the table for where we've kind of gotten to.
Yeah, for sure.
That's perfect. So to add to just what Darren said, it's definitely evolved, right? And so before it was like simple questions, similar to how he described it. Alexa would give us blue links when you do a search in Google. So Google is obviously a keyword search type of thing. Whereas AI, meaning the answer optimization part of it, on how it's transitioning to AI visibility versus browser visibility, it's really how would you tell your story so that AI, meaning in this case that we're discussing is in Google or even in ChatGPT or even Alexa, is that they're looking for those human factors that will allow you, that will really differentiate you, why they would recommend you. So AI will do a good job of vetting you to make sure that you meet all these requirements that they're looking for. And one of the things we're going to be discussing, I guess, is the EEAT, and we'll break that down a little bit more. But yeah, it is shifting the way you speak to it and the questions you ask, um,
Mm-hmm.
is basically how you do your storytelling for authenticity. A common term in the AI circle, right? And so perhaps in the marketing world, this is what's going out there. There's going to be a lot of terminology: GEO, SGE, AEO, AIO are all interchangeable, but ultimately it's about how do you become visible in the AI space. When I mean AI, I'm talking about the LLMs, and LLMs obviously means Gemini, ChatGPT, Claude, Grok. So I want to make sure that we define what that means in the AI space. So
Mm-hmm.
SGE really represents the biggest shift, which is search engine generative experience, which means it's how people find information online since Google's inception, right?
Mm-hmm.
Instead of getting 10 blue links for a user, that you click and click and click, and then you find your answer to come up with, the
Mm-hmm.
filters that you're looking for. It's now how users now get AI generated summaries at the top of the search results. So we're talking
Mm-hmm.
about Google, right?
Which are the AEGs, the answer engine optimization.
Exactly. So that's one part of it. But we also have to remember it with the studies and with the framework that I've done for answer engine optimization,
Mm-hmm.
Gemini gives a totally different answer compared to what's in the browser. And I can
Yes.
demonstrate that if needed. Right.
Yeah.
So you've experienced that already, Franisha, right? So
Yeah, for sure.
where do I want to rank is probably what the customers are going to want to know. Well, you want to rank on both. But right now, because Google and the browsers are still instrumental in also being found by AEO and by AI, you still need to show up on
Mm-hmm.
that AI space within the browser. So for business owners, this means that you're no longer just competing to rank number one, you're competing to be cited as a source within the AI generated answer. So there's
Mm-hmm.
two different ways of looking at it. So how it impacts businesses, the old way is you rank high, you get clicks, you convert visitors. Very simple, right? Click, you
Mm-hmm.
get traffic. The new way is how you have to be authoritative enough that AI cites you as a trusted source. So you can't pay AI to be sponsored and to be ranked. That's the major
Mm-hmm.
difference. The critical shift from keyword optimization to answer authority optimization are the main differences on how you want to look at it. Keyword versus being an authority and being able to answer a question, how do you optimize that? So some practical examples for that is if someone searches, let's say, best healthcare staffing agency in Las Vegas, they won't necessarily click through websites anymore. It's what they call zero clicks. Google AI will synthesize all the answers using multiple sources, and
Mm-hmm.
your job is to be one of the sources that Google trusts so that you're enough to be cited. So that's the fundamentals of that. So content, the depth of content over volume, right? So a complete comprehensive answer to 10 shallow articles, structured data becoming more critical, meaning your schemas, how AI can understand your content. They have to be able to understand your content through a schema code within your
Yeah.
websites, right? And you know that. And then there are obviously the EEAT is from the Google part of things of AI as far as the experience, expertise, authority, and
Mm-hmm.
trust. That
Mm-hmm.
also, those parameters are also similar to ChatGPT, Grok, and all those other LLMs in another way, shape, or form. But
Mm-hmm.
ultimately, the terminology is answer engine optimization. That will replace Google in a way, traditional SEO. SEO will still be part of it, but it's going to play a different role. That's my
Yeah.
hopefully that
Yeah,
makes sense.
it does. It does. And I think that there's a key word that runs through all these terms, and in the AI era, with such a dominant large language model presence now, the exact words and how to use the exact words are becoming really just table stakes. But the key word that I would call out of everything that Daisy said is generative, right? So
Mhm.
we a search engine is a retrieval system, right? Go
Mhm.
fetch, you throw the stick, the dog brings it back. That's a retrieval system. With generative, it's you throw the question out, it gives you an answer. You throw another one, it gives you an answer. It generates an answer versus giving you a list. So the fundamental difference is that we're talking about generating the right answer for you. And the directive of AI is to always please its master, right? To give it what it thinks it
Mhm.
wants. And
Yeah.
so when we talk about a conversation in a research situation, it is going to generate the best answers that it's told to deliver at that time. So that slight
Mhm.
distinction seems to help people. And that led me early on in the game, especially after ChatGPT was released, to say at some point we're going to have to influence the answers that are generated out of AI to talk about a company or to talk about a procedure or to talk about a legal answer. It
Mhm.
seems obvious, but it's not. In that, what I find these answers, like I know that somebody found me the other day for a startup out of Brazil on an answer engine optimization. He had queried, what should I do? How should I do it? Who would I talk to? Then it talked about America. Oh, maybe I should talk to somebody in America. Well, who would I talk to? You should talk to Darren L. Fields. So
Mhm.
that was a long process compared to what the old search days used to be. So it's part of being an influencer to AI, just like you're being an influencer to humans.
Yeah. Yeah. I do love that you said it is basically it strives to give its master what it wants, which is a lot of what Google has always wanted to do. Google always prioritizes the human over the machine element. So that hence what Daisy was saying about the schema markup. You want to be not only talk to the machine, but you want to also talk to the human. Robots TXT code. It also
Right.
speaks to the machine, not just the human.
Yeah.
Even and then on the technical side of SEO, we have image alt tags, all these different things
Yeah.
that the machine is reading, but also it needs to be there because if the human can't see, it needs to be able to read it out to you, things like that. So I think there are a lot of similarities between and why Google and AI work so well together too, because Google has always wanted to appease the human nature, and AI is basically just following that up. So I love that you said that.
Good.
So where do you see AI providing the greatest efficiency boost in SEO in the workflow right now? So whether it's keywords, topics, research, technical audit, what's one tool that you can't live without?
Okay, so I'll start with that. So for me, primarily, the biggest efficiency boost for me is really in a strategic content ideation and the gap analysis of AI, like using AI to analyze an entire content library, identifying what's missing, map out your content strategy in minutes, and that would take typically a human days or weeks to create. So specifically for my own benefit, for my own example, specific workflow benefit for me would be competitive analysis, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is my biggest win. So AI can scrape competitor content and identify gaps in your own coverage,
Mm-hmm.
meaning that it can create topic clusters that you're missing that your competitor has, that you've
Yeah.
identified from your competition. Then it can also help identify questions that your competitors aren't asking to give an answer to the humans. It creates, you're able to do competitive analysis in less than 2 weeks versus 20 hours of
Yeah.
doing all this research, right? So basically in 2 hours or 4 hours, however quick you are, however you do your prompts. So you're basically just on average for me anyway, it can save me 24 to 24 hours, and getting work done in 2 to 4 hours instead,
Mm-hmm.
right? So a lot of that. So predictive analytics was a part of your competitive analysis. Now, keyword research evolution too is one of the things that's helped me. AI kind of find kind of like what I call systematic. I don't know. AI finds semantics that semantic relationships between that humans miss. You know what I mean? So it's our, identifies question-based queries critical for SGE.
Mm-hmm.
So if you ask the question, then it remembers what humans are looking for, and it
Yeah.
create, it kind of generates again generative, type of prompting and questioning. It kind of helps map certain keywords as intent to the customer's journey as they do their searches. You can do technical audit interpretations in minutes, or in minutes versus hours,
Yeah.
right? I can read all the technical specs or the reports that you find from your competitors or any sort of research that you're doing. It can explain all the technical jargon. Like if you talk to a human being right now and you talk about SEO and schemas, while they're talking to us right now, Fernisha, they're
Yeah.
probably typing things up like, what's the schema? And they'll probably be way smarter than us in some of the questions they're going to be asking. And I've been faced with some of the questions that I've been asked because I haven't encountered that in their space or in their
Yeah.
lane or even in their markets, right?
Yeah.
So it serves both purposes for both your clients and for you, which means they're better educated. And that's why the way you respond and the way you massage your responses to AI is very, very critical for them to
Yeah.
recommend you that you know your space. So those are the tools that I can't live without. One is Claude for strategic more thinking and content refinement, and ChatGPT is more for my bulk research or data analysis.
Mm-hmm.
The key is that you don't use them as content generators itself and just post it out there. The key is to prompt them to be a CMO, not just a writer. So in my
Yeah.
space, I want it to be a CMO and give me real life examples to help solve problems for customers.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm.
And a lot of people don't look at their GPTs or their Geminis as assistants in that way. But when they came out, they're literally called AI assistants. But you use them for everything except really assisting you in your job. Well, I'm going to say a lot of other people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So go ahead, Jared. About you.
No, I was just saying, I think there's a pattern that always pops up, right? And when you look at revenue bands and you look at industries, when you're talking about a retail marketing, assignment that either one of you are working on, it's going to be, there's going to be so many different variations and so many layers to persuading people, because really AI is now a buyer's agent as opposed to a search engine. And that buyer's agent is going to do different things for different levels and horizontals and verticals, right? So in the automotive industry, you two are going to have quite a bit on your hands, because there's a lot of research that goes into that buyer's agent relationship. And so that's really what it is. It's a buyer's agent. I've talked to the younger generations, and they use AI as their buyer's agent constantly. Should I do this? Should I do that? It's their advisor. They listen to them before they listen to their parents. It's just what they're going to do. And when you've got things that are different levels, now if you get into something more technical, like a piece of software for a $2 billion company, well, now that's a whole team, but then the whole team is also doing their own research. And then the whole team may want to build their own buyer's agent that helps them on that decision. And it becomes a project buyer's agent. So it gets more and more complex as you move up the revenue bands. But, for an individual family making $250,000, $300,000 a year, whatever it may be, their buyer agent is going to be different than the one for a multi-billion-dollar company, which is going to be different than the solopreneur. And so you have all these variations and all of this autonomy and all of this very personalized search and personalized research that are just merging together. They're just
Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
guys are trying to anticipate the questions they're going to ask of that buyer's agent, and you're trying to be there for it and all the different questions that are going to be asked of the agent. And it's a lot. I mean, I think I felt bad for the SEO folks at first, because, okay, now you're not going to be able to just do a templated gaming of the system. But now for both of you, it's going to be answer engine optimization. Wow, what do you think they're going to ask out there? Now that becomes a rather complex question to answer. What platforms are they going to ask? Well, they're probably going to ask all of them now. So now they need you, both of you, more than ever before, because it's not a column and row. It's column and row times 18 different sources for buyers to figure out who they're going to buy from. It's more complex. It's just more complex.
Yeah, I mean, that makes me think of a whole lot of other things though, because for me, it's quality data over quantity data. So, looking at, I was just doing a report this morning for a client. We go over their data every month, and they are, like 2 to 3 years ago, they came up very little using ChatGPT. We would see it as a referral source once or twice in the data. And this month we had 7 or 8 different search links that took them to different links on their site. But that was all specifically through GPT. So that, for me, just being a data analyst, I would be looking through and looking for the GPT sources over, Gemini, because Gemini, I'm not seeing any search results in the data in none of my clients yet, but I'm seeing GPT.
No, Gemini is the toughest one to crack. So ChatGPT is a little bit, kind of out there. It's been out there a little bit longer as far as an LLM, and it's really invested a lot of that. Gemini kind of is also still kind of using Google because it's within their backyard or in their ecosystem, right? But a lot of what they use Google for is on the rankings. So that means that if you're not ranked in Google, the business profile page, you might never be seen, number one. Second, there's other layers like Yelp has become part of that as well. So a lot of it is, do you have enough articles in your current site to be cited in Google versus in Gemini? Like I said, 0 clicks, which means I can phrase a question that's, 2 paragraphs long, and it will give me the answer specifically to what I need versus Gemini, versus Google. You have to click, 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 and then create your own answer to come up with your one solution that you're looking for. Right. So, the blue links until you narrow it down. So yeah, no, it is changing, it is shifting. It's an art form to be able to write your content to be discovered. Space. And then you've got, like Darren mentioned, it's a retrieval site, which is Perplexity. It is AI, but it's a retrieval site that actually goes through a lot of different sources to make sure that it actually is very truthful and factual in what it gives. So it's AI, but more of a retrieval tool from different models.
Well, I was speaking in regards to like the Google Gemini AI chatbot. So it's not really pulling, like you can get data from it, but when I speaking in terms of qualitative or quantity data, I'm seeing more people getting their data pulled through GPT than they are through Google Gemini.
Yeah. It is. Yeah, it is. That one's a little bit tougher to crack, to be honest with you. But where you can see successes, at least, is that you're mentioned on the top part of the browser, because that's still going to be critical. Google's not going to go away. The browser's not going to go away. SEO is not going to go away. Within North America, it might shift the way we do things and how we help companies market, or even in other European or progressive countries, at least. But you got to think about the other countries that don't even have computers in their schools, right? And so the next technology that's close to them would be still the web.
Yeah.
So, so we can't eliminate the web because the rest of the world is not on the web even still. So I want to make sure that, SEO is going to shift, but it's not dead.
Yeah, for sure. Agreed. So speaking of quality versus quantity, where we are currently in a world where AI can generate infinite content, how do we prove that the content is following the genuine EAT or EEAT, which is experience, expertise, authoritative, and trustworthy content? These are the 4 pillars of Google. And like you were saying early on, AI still is following those because that's what the human wants. The human wants to know that this is expert content. We want to know that they have experience in this and it's very authoritative and we can trust it. Trust is the number one in marketing itself, building trust and transparency. So how do we know that how do we prove that the information AI bots are pulling is following the standards, the EAT standards, and how can human quality stand out?
Oh, sure. All right. So the truth, the core for I believe the truth is for that is that Google's AI is specifically designed to detect and actually penalize AI generated content that lacks human expertise.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the truth. Even ChatGPT is going to look at that. And so
Mm-hmm.
from the EEAT, I've created another framework, which is a little bit more intensive, which is architect, and it's kind of similar to the EEAT. So E for EEAT obviously is experience, which is, to what it means is that it's firsthand lived experience with the topic. How do you prove it? Through case studies, through client results, through personal stories, to photos, to videos, and however you tell that story. Example, when I built a $10 million healthcare staffing company, I have to say, here's what I learned. So I tell my story. AI can't replace that.
Yeah.
AI can say the first part of my sentence and how to make it sound better, but the story that goes with that has to be genuine and with authority, right? And your expertise. So next E for EEAT is expertise. It means deep knowledge and your credentials around that expertise. How to prove it is through your certifications, your years of experience. Mine would be my 20 years of experience, industry recognition. I've been the top MSP vendor for Cedar Sinai for the last 5 years. I've been the top vendor for USC CAC for the last 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
I've been recognized as, my company that supported those MSP healthcare systems have been recognized in that space for the last 5 years, because of the types of nurses that we bring and the what do you call this? The education that we provide, additional education that we provide to the hospitals so that they can understand what the nurses are looking for. AI can't replace the unique methodology that you've gone through
Yeah.
doing that job, that you've developed over the years. AI can help you amplify the words, but your story still needs to be interjected there, which means the human part of it. A
Mm-hmm.
is for authority. What does it mean? Being recognized as a leader in your field. You don't have to be the best in the world, but you are speaking from authority, meaning that, hey, I've got, 15 years in the general staffing world. I got another 15 years in the healthcare staffing world. And then now I'm in the AI space to help healthcare companies or small healthcare practices to be seen and what I've learned over those years so that I can help you now tell your story to be found by AI. So you prove that by through speaking engagements such as this podcast. You do media mentions. You do kind of the industry awards. You have to get yourself out there. So if let's say you're a doctor and you really just read articles from business journals, you might you might want to at least speak to that you've read the article, what's going on in your field, and then speak to how you apply it to your own practice. Right? You don't
Mm-hmm.
have to be recognized as the leader in that space, but at least you're showing humans that you're reading up into it. You know what the latest is in technology or in the world of medicine, and how do you apply and why you agree or don't agree to it, right?
Yeah.
Because humans are asking for research and question, and if you have a strong opinion about it and you can prove to the human, yeah, do it or don't do that procedure, right? Then you're a trusted source. So it could
Mm-hmm.
be industry awards. So example would be I was featured in Codebreakers podcast, the site discussing AI and search. That's credential building for me, right? I'm
Mm-hmm.
speaking with authority because you know that I'm in that space and you know that's what I'm developing, so that
Yeah.
businesses can start thinking about it. So even as simple as that, again, it's a storytelling. It's a being authentic and genuine, and you're getting the authority because I'm passionate about it, and you kind of believe in what I'm doing, and you're seeing those changes. The next one
Yeah.
is trust. Do you trust? Am I going to be reliable? Am I transparent? And do I have integrity? Number
Mm-hmm.
one. So you have to, then again, your integrity needs to be intact as well, because in AI, you can run into the ethical and unethical parts of it, right? That we've
Yeah.
seen as far as the deep fakes and all that kind of stuff. How do I prove it? It's real client testimonials. I have transparent pricing. I have ethical practices that I need to post Or when I'm talking to a client, I need to tell them, no, we can't do that because that's crossing the line of crawling behind a paid wall, right? To do
Yeah.
to do your crawling for data. You can kind of make them have those boundaries, right? What cannot be faked are the actual genuine reviews and your true relationships with that you build around that. And really, AI is basically human. AI plus the human expert is really what it's really looking for, is that
Yeah.
you're speaking the truth and that the humans understand and can relate to it. That's a
Yeah.
simple answer, or hopefully simple enough.
Yeah. Well,
Sorry.
it,
So I had
it,
to
it
name
made
all
it made
these.
sense. It made sense. That's for sure. That made sense. That's for sure. Yeah, I have a question for both of you. If you are building and using more Google products and you're in the construct of the Google system, does that give you a better chance to be found?
You want to answer first? I mean, because I
Re-
know my answer,
Repeat
but
your question, Darren. Let me say it again.
So I'm just curious. I'm wondering, um, is there an advantage to staying within the same platform of any of the hyperscalers? In this case, especially the ones that are connected to AI. OpenAI is standalone, and you
yeah.
both are getting different results out of that, which is technically half nonprofit, half for profit now.
Yeah.
But they
Hmm.
come from a nonprofit viewpoint, which is they're very much about ethics.
Yeah.
The Google and the AWS and the Copilot all come back to a commercialization model,
Yeah.
and they're different. So, the question I have is, if I'm part of a commercialization product like Google AI Studio now that's out, and I'm using that agent and I'm putting it out and everything else, is there some advantage to keeping it within all the same platform because now it has access to all of that data? I mean, that's my logical thought. I'm just wondering if it's actually a
I mean,
viable
for
thing.
me, it is true, mainly because Google has always been, we use the term AI as if it's something new, and it isn't. It's always been a large language learning model. It's always been collecting data from us. It's always been for a long time. Since right after we lost Jeeves, we got Google. And that was that was a long time ago. So it has, then we started to get where Google would auto populate what we're already typing before what we have right now. It's much faster now, but it started to auto populate content. That happened because of
Predictive.
the LLM in the back end of everything. It's learning the language, it's learning natural language from humans.
Hmm.
And then from there, we go into the AEO, the answer engine optimization. It has already had so much data from us already. And now we're feeding Google Gemini data now. We're already, and it's already been eating in the normal Google search engine. Then we have and all of those things speak to being authoritative too. So how long has your website been up? When you look at hosting and the your browser history and all that, how long has this existed online? That lets you know that your URL is very authoritative, it's trustworthy. We have sites like Disney that's been around on the same URL for many years. We have Netflix that's been on the same URL for many years. The only thing that's been updated or changed is the content and the things that people go there for. So, yeah, all of that is authoritative. It's speaking to the algorithm, and the more that it continues to have on you, the more that you're prioritized.
So she has a good point for the general public. So for your example, Darren, in that space, is that Copilot is still very much used in a lot of corporations. Not necessarily like shall I get Copilot or ChatGPT? People are going to choose ChatGPT if you're a regular human being, right?
Mm-hmm.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Finisha. So Copilot still has it's not scouring the sites
Mm-hmm.
as it's not quite there yet for us to be even to be for me to be able to massage and recommend under Copilot, because in reality, once they implement Copilot in its regular usage, what it was built for within the, MS Micro in the Office, Microsoft
Hmm.
Office space, there's going to be some paywalls or
Yeah.
you know what I mean, we won't be able to enter or recommend to companies. Like if you're in a big corporation and enterprise, typically they won't, even on the web, right, you have to use your intranet or you can browse the web
Hmm.
for certain searches. So similar thing, Copilot's going to be a little bit stricter in allowing
Yeah.
your content to flow through there, because it still has to search Bing, has to search Google,
Hmm.
it still has to
It
search
just has
Bing.
limited options because it's
Correct.
corporate. Yeah. A
Yeah.
lot of a lot of corporations do function on Microsoft Office and Word. Like I don't use Microsoft products, you know, I'm not in your typical workspace, but if I was to go, but you do still have a lot of design agencies for their office use. They're using Microsoft, but designers and data analysts, a lot of us are Mac users. We're not even on PC to be able to,
Yeah.
to use the Windows systems like that.
And to answer your question, do you just stay with one or do you do multiple? Well, it depends on the industry and what your service is about. So if you're about research and you have so much content and let's say you're a consulting company, you probably want to stand out on majority of them, which is, Perplexity, ChatGPT, and Gemini, because those are
Hmm.
the three top ones. But I wouldn't just limit myself to ChatGPT, because as me, as marketers or consultants, we want to research everywhere to find the best results. Some of them will come up with the same answers for recommendations, and if you actually do a search, some of them will come up with one or two that are the same, and then the rest of the answers or recommendations are all going to be different.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they do have their own personality and they
Correct.
develop their own expertise and they
Yeah.
have their own swim lanes, and that's for sure. And I think for the public that's listening in, it really comes down to your culture. What is your culture? Which one should you use?
Hmm.
There's no right answer or wrong answer because each one is different. It's just a
Yeah.
question of cost. How many do I want to pay for? What do I do? I think Perplexity is a fantastic democratization of just AI and search in the same platform. I think it's a brilliant, brilliant play on their part.
And it
Whereas
actually,
Claude,
yeah. Go
whereas
ahead. Sorry.
Claude is very much the MBA in the room, right? Anthropic is built it for a particular reason, so it is going to be that. But I do wonder if with Google, if I'm using AI Studio stuff from Google for videos, I mean, I'm wondering how much of it shares with itself. I just was curious, really, just
Well,
curious.
the sharing of itself really is more about how do you label that content you're creating, because they
Mhm.
when it crawls through the site and whatever videos you're creating, it's looking for those titles and labels,
Hmm.
um,
Those alt tags.
and tags, and then the words
Hmm.
that are in your content, right,
Yeah.
that are actual words versus, because remember, it doesn't see, Darren, you know this, it doesn't see pictures, it sees pixels, it sees binary codes as an image,
Hmm.
right? And so the description of that image is what's critical for it to tell the story that why that content needs to be seen.
Yeah. All,
If yeah,
all I hear, ladies, is I hear a lot of calculations that you guys have to do. I, as the chief revenue officer or whatever role I may be playing, is going to be primarily around, hey, you need to get this in front of lots of people, and then my people will talk them through it, right? So it's a task for you guys. It's a task, but
Yeah.
it's a lot of good job security for all of you out there because there's a lot of triangulation. I guess it's the only word I'm going to say. This and this and this and this and this.
Uh-huh.
You guys are going to use AI to do the triangulation, and it's going to be rather interesting to watch.
No, for sure.
yeah,
I think this is a great move or a great conversation to move into risk and ethics.
excellent.
So, where should businesses draw the line to avoid potential penalties or damaging brand trust when using AI for content creation or for SEO?
Yeah,
I've
I'll
always
just start with a
Go
quick
ahead.
story, and then I'll let the expert kind of talk about it. I have made the mistake of cutting and pasting. months ago. There was, maybe a year ago or so, but I was in a big hurry. I cut and paste, and I did ruin my reputation, and I lost that person as an acquaintance, I guess, forever, because they were really, really upset. They said, "Did you write this, or did AI write this?" Thing is, and it's a valid question, and I was being lazy. I was being lazy. I cut and paste and hit send, and then I paid for it later. So, I don't know that final quality control step and anything that AI touches is ever going to go away. If anything, it's going to be AI to watch AI, right? And then humans still over the top. It's still going to be there. But I think, yeah, the thing that I saw the other day, and Daisy just said it, is that cut and paste is going to be frowned upon, and it's going to be built into the system. And so my best advice to everybody out there is don't over rely on it with the cut and paste. I even today was doing too much cut and paste on the design. It's just too much. I've got to slow way down. It's going to get expensive, by the way, anyway. But I got to slow down, a lot less prompting to get it perfect. My recommendation, my hack is do it, get the first version, and then switch to either typing or talk to text, which is, a great thing to do, and read your script into what you're writing. And now you're talking, texting, and now you can see it. And now you get to really feel what you would say. It's a really fast way. So if you're in a big hurry, but you can't cut and paste, but you don't feel like typing, then I think the next best thing is just look at it and then say it, and then look at it for the ethics. Do I want to say this? Am I true to myself? Am I true to my person? This is, and you'll insert yourself in there between there. And I think it'll be kind of a hack for keeping your ethics in. And yes, I also believe you'll be found more by AI as a result.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's kind of similar to what I'm about to say. So if you wouldn't put your name, number one, and face, and I always say this, on it, then don't publish it. Okay. If you look at it, what gives it, you're going, kind of sounds good, but will I put my face and name to support it? Then don't. If you have doubt, that means that you're not genuine enough. Because if you say, yeah, I'm putting my name because I'm going to bet I know every topic, every question they're going to ask me, I'm going to be able to answer. So AI is a tool, not a replacement for your judgment and expertise. Okay. So we still have to make our own judgment. We still have to make those decisions. The human still needs to verify and validate, meaning for your content accuracy and to double check hallucinations. And that's what people don't look at is they'll give you an answer. They'll see some nice, good answers, but they don't read to the bottom. They'll just go with it. And like Darren says, copy, paste. It sounds good. I sound really good. It's going to make the client impressed. But if they really read it, which means that, AI can confidently make stats and facts for your citations, right? But always verify each fact and number before claiming it. Because once you publish it under your name, that's what Darren said, you lose your credibility. AI might also cite non existent study or outdated stats. And so one of the things I've actually learned from Darren is that when you're asking it, when you're prompting it, make sure that you're telling it to make sure that they're giving you citation sites that are credible, and what's your criteria, why you mean credible as a site. And so this is where, again, Perplexity becomes a little bit better because it really gives you the list of where it proves, pulls its citations from or its recommendations. And even then, I look at those sites it recommends to see if it's valid enough to be cited in my research, because some of them are just reviews from a peer about me, as opposed to being what the real reality of the world is. You know what I mean? So that's one. Trust, but verify every single time. Next is if it's specific to something, let's say for me in healthcare, is like the compliance part of it in HIPAA. Make sure that it specifically addresses that and it doesn't give any sort of violation to HIPAA. So you're also, again, an advisor, but you double check what AI gives you. So my approach will be, as a healthcare consultant, I use AI for strategy and ideas, but every time it gives me a healthcare related type of output, I review it for compliance. although it will pull all the data for me. And if you have to also know, I have to know my space and what that means to be
Yeah.
able to audit it, right? But if you are not an authority in that space, again, if you are just making stuff up and that you think that you want to sound good, again, that's your reputation being out there. Again, you're going to be found. AI also knows when it's ours, even if you cut and paste that you sound good and look good, it knows when it's been copied and pasted. Little nuances that people don't know, a little double spacing is in there behind the schema. Aside from those M dots and N dashes that we see that ChatGPT does, there's some
Mhm.
hidden ones behind it too after you copy and paste. So every time it's something you, it's basically make sure that your voice, your authenticity will always come through and always be transparent. That
Yeah.
all your insights are provided by AI, but the recommendations, I use AI to do my research, and I'm always transparent about that and drafting it. But all the insights and recommendations still comes from my 20 years of experience. Make sense?
Great. Yeah, for sure.
Well said.
All right. For future proofing,
Yeah.
if you had to advise an entrepreneur to learn one new skill related to AI and search, what will that be? What would that be?
Hmm. One
Hmm.
skill? Oh boy. Um,
There's a lot. I have a lot. I'm gonna pick one.
yeah, I mean, there's a lot. I mean, I think, I think from a technical standpoint, right? From a technical standpoint, AI loves lots of data. Um, I think a skill or a habit is to really learn to collaborate with your AI, but not rely on it, right? That is just a future proofing thing. Is when you get into AI, talk to text often. Now they're all having more features. There's more and more coming. Necklaces that you can wear, all this stuff, and you
Yeah.
can have your personal assistant. I mean, your personal assistant, the Alexas of the world are going to get better. The Colemans of the world are going to just get way better. So the future proofing would be learn to these techniques we're talking about. Learn to do them, but also learn to do them kind of in a collaborative way because AI does have a lot of value. You can use too little and be and I've heard people say to me, "Well, they have AI. They should have wrote a better letter." Now I've heard the opposite of what we just got done talking about. And then there's well, they use too much. It is the Goldilocks moment. So future proof is learning how to Goldilocks. And I do believe when you learn how to Goldilocks prompt, it's talk to text. I think that's a secret. I think it's a secret that's getting out more and more. But for those of you that are still typing, future proof yourself and just start talking to your machines because you can put more information in. You don't really get writer's block and you don't get typing fatigue. Oh, that's it. I'm done typing. My fingers are tired. I've had enough. Whereas I could literally lay here half dead and just say, can you just quickly send a quick note to Phoenicia real quick? And I could just probably just get it through and I'll just say, yes, here's what I need you to do. So
Mhm.
learning how to collaborate with your AI and getting good at it is going to be something you can do to future proof. Don't wait on anything else. Just learn how to collaborate with it.
Very similar to what Darren's talking about. The human is still very important, and your knowledge and your expertise, right? So mine would the one skill would be how do I phrase it? Because I have a couple, so I'm going to summarize it in the best I can. So it's basically AI human synthesis thinking, meaning that the ability to combine the AI's processing power with uniquely kind of uniquely the human judgment creativity of it and the emotional intelligence to create a content or marketing around it that neither one could achieve alone. Make sense? So you've got the AI doing your research, giving you contents that you could possibly put, but the human needs to put in our ads. Let's say for Nisha, let's say it's a TikTok ad, right? It tells you a script of what you need to do, but how the emotional intelligence to the story and how you're telling your story of I can read a script of selling a product, but we all know that people buy because of emotion. So how do I tell, or how do I speak the emotional part of what AI can't put
Yeah.
in the script, right? So you have to
Hmm.
use those words to for the human intelligence for it to be. So neither one of them can exist without the human doing the human part of it. So why
Mhm.
this is specifically important for me anyway is that AI will commoditize generic content and analyze it, but the value of it being the synthesis of the judgment and the strategic application and the approach is where the humans come into play. So businesses will need people who can translate AI insights into human actions. Make sense?
Nice.
Hmm.
AI
For
says
sure.
AI insights into human action. I love that. I'm writing that down right now.
You can't
There.
automate it. It requires wisdom, not just knowledge.
Hmm.
So wisdom is really the key. Knowledge AI can provide, but the wisdom around that knowledge is what's
Yeah.
critical.
Yeah. It's literally why, I make my kids go play and use their imagination for a few
Yeah,
hours a day. It's what AI can't teach. It's that genuine getting down, and really coloring instead of using the paint tool on Photoshop.
correct. Right? Or it will say use these colors, but then your heart might be saying, no, AI just told me that, but I want it to be, my heart to be purple instead of green or red,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, for
So you
sure.
want to allow humans to still be creative. So I always say AI can tell you everything, but guess what? It tells you to do these things. The human in the loop still needs to do all the action.
For sure. Final takeaway. What is one key action item or tool you want our decoders to implement today to start winning with AI and SEO?
Hmm.
Miss Daisy.
Really create your own audit system. Not for your create your own AI enhanced content audit system, meaning that before you release, understand the content you're putting out there. um is it going to make an impact? Do you have all the foundations for all the strategies that you have? Will it reveal quick wins and opportunities? Are you setting yourself up for success to put that post out? Do you have an inventory of all your contents? Number one is, do you have take an inventory of all your contents, list all what's published contents that are out there, make sure that the dates are new, because 6 to 12 months is what they're looking for in that space. If anything is beyond the 12 months, that means your content is outdated. Unfortunately, AEO and AI visibility is not a set it and done type of task. It's a constant update, and it's a constant telling your story. Um, Basically, have a prompt that is always going to, you have guardrails around your prompts to make sure that it addresses your target audience. It identifies the gaps in the industry you're trying to promote in the marketing space, and make sure that you organize your categories, because that's really, really critical. So always create your own audit system for content you're going to put out there. Make sure that it involves your expertise, your authority, and your credibility. That's the only thing I can think of. Make sure that you double check everything that you do.
Yeah, and I along those lines, is in the SEO days, sometimes people would be coached to say this so that it lined up with the algorithms of the search engine. But as you all have heard today, you've got to be your authentic self. That's actually good news, because you should build your go to market plans and all those things that you're going to hand to marketing. You should build those from your heart. You really should build it from an ethical place. And so, by being able to talk to text, you can get it into the recording system. Then, yes, you're going to paraphrase and humanize and all those things. But what's really kind of neat now is that you get to be yourself, right? You get to be yourself, and let that be rewarded by AEO, because AEO should find it. And um, I keep going with people. Sometimes would get pulled into, I need to say this, I need to say that. Don't say it this way, say it that way, so it would fit into an algorithm. but we are seeing that autonomy blow up. So as a business person, the secret there is, how do you keep that from going in the wrong direction? It really is like I do say in Apex 8, start with discovery, but in your AI era, start with deep discovery of your target market. What is it they do? And then you're going to do not set everything. Do your initial research and discovery in AI, sure, but then set that aside, get on the phone, and then start being your authentic self, and then write your go-to-market, and then hand that over to marketing. Because there's another, what people call the last mile or the last 10% that's not in AI. There is a lot that is not in AI that are nuances that I, as the CRO, need to give to my marketing team. And your job now, today, is to find that thing that's different about their problem versus the next person in the same industry with something that's similar. There's something very unique. Go deep, discovery, human to human, on what that is. Because here's this, ladies. If I just did AI deep research, cut, paste, load, go build a marketing thing, then when you guys really get in there, and then you're going to hear me complain, this isn't working, you're going to, well, this is what you gave me. Honestly, it's on me. I was lazy. I should have called my own market. I should have surveyed my own market. Not an AI survey market, a real human to human market. Hey, Bill, what are you going to do next year? Hey, Bill. Hey, Lisa. Hey, Steve. Hey, Jan. A couple calls, and then bring that back into your GTM, and then hand that to your marketing team. Now when your marketing team gets it going, now you're going to get what you wanted. Because I see this war between sales. I mean, I called Phoenicia probably, a month ago, Phoenicia, and I said, look, I got a problem with a marketing person. And she coached me up, and she said, look, we're going to take what you have decided is in the soul of your audience that you want to get in front of, and then we're going to broadcast it. Then we're going to get you in front of them. But after that, it's coming back to you. So what do you want? Tell us what you want and work closely with us. So that's my kind of hack, is that as we go into this answer engine optimization piece, I think all of us CROs and all of us sales guys out here, we got to spend a little extra time on that go-to-market and get that right, human to human. And then when you hand it over to your team, they'll do the balance, and then we should have a good, successful campaign all the way around.
Yeah. A big part of AEO is really a rebranding, and how you brand yourself nowadays, not just your service and yourself. Really, it's how you're gonna rebrand so that humans can trust you.
Yeah,
it's really a rebranding. Everything in the AEO space, you have to rebrand at the end of the day. Right?
I like that we are closing on this subject matter, because we are coming up to the end of the year. We are in November, December. If you are watching this podcast right now and you have not, I always like to get the year started before the year gets started. So we are not yet in 2026, and you should already have your 6-month plan planned out, if not the whole year for 2026 mapped out. Start with your SEO and your AEO. And before you ever even get there, as we were saying, let's look at your brand overall. Let's revisit that tone. Let's revisit that voice. Let's look at your color theory, which, if you guys are taking classes with Blossom, if you've been taking workshops with Blossom all year, then you have your growth book, and you can revisit your brand guide, which has all those things. We can go revisit the content portion of it. Let's revamp your website, and let's get you ready for search engine and answer engine optimization for 2026. Thank you guys for joining us today. I really, really appreciate you. This conversation has been amazing, and we are out of here, decoders. Until next time.
Thank you very much.